It was
And
interesting
what conclusions have you drawn?
At first, naturally, this almost deters you, right? I mean, when you're met with this kind of force, it's terrifying. Again, based off of what they were yelling, how they orchestrated all this, how the officers did nothing, how the administration applauded it. It just makes you feel as if you're doing something wrong. But after, of course, the next day, I step away from the situation. I'm thinking to myself on my flight back home. Eventually, I made my flight back home. And it just occurred to me, they have nothing else to dissuade from my argument other than reacting that way. They don't have truth. They don't have science. They don't have any logical points. They don't have reasoning. They don't have anything that would allow them to have an argument that's substantial enough to go back and forth with mine. So that's why they react the way they do. So then it hit me, this can't be something that silences me. If they act this way, it only means you're getting closer, you're right over the target. That being said, it's not going to deter me. It's only going to encourage me to continue. I have now increased my security, so I guess I can thank them for that. And I can thank them for, truthfully, I think this whole situation backfired on them. Because, again, while this shouldn't be a political issue, it's inevitable that it is. And this has made even a lot of liberals, a lot of people who typically lean left, really open their eyes to what the left, again, I hate this is political, but it is, what the left is really doing here. This is how they react when simply they don't agree with someone. This is what they're willing to do. And so it's opened a lot of eyes. It's only increased my social media following. It's only increased my platform to continue sharing my message, which I never want to advance myself personally. Again, it's not about me. It's not about my social media following. It's about getting the message out to whoever will listen, whoever wants to hear it. I'm willing to talk.
What do you want? What do you want? If you could have what you wanted, let's talk about the NCAA. Let's talk about these sports organizations. Like, what are your terms of peace? What do you think should be done?
Of course, I want change. What I've been doing this past year is traveling state to state, testifying in different state legislature. I'm going back to Texas on Monday to testify. I'm testifying in front of Congress in just a few weeks. So whether that be the state level, the federal level, upholding Title IX, that's a big ordeal right now. Doing everything in my power to combat this movement. So I'm hopeful there in regards to sports-specific governing bodies. It's interesting because you have many sports going many different ways. Swimming, track and field, they've taken a good approach. But what about rowing and FIFA and other sports? They've taken the total opposite.
Mixed martial arts fighting.
They've taken the total opposite approach. And so while I might not have much expertise in cycling or disc golf or whatever that might look like, I still want to do everything I can to fight for those girls and women. Again, they might not have the confidence. They might not have the personal testimony I have. They might not have the security to speak up. So doing what I can for them. So ultimately, change is what I want to enact. No girl should have to go through what we went through, regardless of what level, regardless of what age, regardless of what sport. 2, I think there needs to be a sense of accountability, whether that be from universities, whether that be from administrations, whether that be from the government. There needs to be a sense of accountability of how this is harmful to women, because the people who are in opposition of this right now, of protecting women's sports specifically, really women in general, but we're talking about women's sports, these people who are doing everything in their power to advocate for male trans inclusion in these spaces, they're not acknowledging how this is hurting women, and therefore it's overall harmful. I believe there needs to be a sense of acknowledgement from all of those different entities that I listed to understand why this is harmful to women. So that's what I've been trying to communicate to anyone and everyone who will listen.
Yep. Well, kind of looks to me like you're doing it with a fair degree of effectiveness. And so, congratulations on that front. I'm sure you've got no shortage of surreal adventures in front of you over the next while, because this is a crazy situation that you found yourself in. And you certainly saw that at San Francisco State, to be mobbed like that, and then to have the administration feel sorry for the mobbers and to acclaim their virtue for, having the courage to stand up to such a reprehensible, powerful individual as you. It's quite the bloody charade. And, it's very much emblematic of what's going on in the universities. They have many sins on their conscience, that's for sure. And this is one of them. And this whole spectacle is so surreal that it's a form of black comedy, and it's quite something to be in the midst of that maelstrom. But you seem to be holding your head up quite nicely. And if you're careful and you've been smart enough not to apologize or backtrack, and that's a big deal. So tell the people that you're in touch with, that especially Leah Thomas's teammates, that I'd be more than happy to talk to them if they'd like to share with me exactly what has happened.
That'd be great.
Especially with regards to the administrators of the athletic events and the university administrators, especially. I'd really like to talk to them about how it was that they got finagled into taking mandatory ethical retraining programs as a way of redressing their complaints. Because that is so inexcusable that it's a whole new level of
Absolutely.
Miraculous and malevolent stupidity. Right.
It is.
Oh, you don't have a problem. You're actually mentally ill. And if you were just a little bit more compassionate, you wouldn't mind sharing your locker room with a demented male narcissist.
Absolutely.
So, right. So we could have a fun conversation about that, so you can let them know.
I will. They'll love that.
All right. Okay, so Riley, thank you very much for agreeing to talk to me today. That was quite fascinating. And, congratulations on your hard-won resilience. It seems to all that dedication seems to have paid off in a very strange way, and God only knows where that'll lead. And to everyone watching and listening on YouTube, thanks for your time and attention. To the Daily Wire Plus people for facilitating this conversation. Thank you to the film crew here in Porto, Portugal. Thank you for making this so smooth and making it work. And I'm gonna continue to talk to Riley for another half an hour on the Daily Wire Plus platform side of things behind the paywall. If any of you who are listening are inclined to throw a little support in their direction, you might want to consider doing that, because we are in something approximating pretty deep cultural war, and you might want to, do what you can to support those people who are, let's say, who are supporting the proposition that women shouldn't compete against giant men in their own sports, just for starters. So, all right, Riley, good to meet you. And
yes, you too.
We'll meet again here right away. Okay.